Welcome to week 2 of our digital forensics class. This week we're supposed to be looking at Windows operating and file system, and last week we had an overview of digital forensics. Because the book we're using was released in 2015, I have to supplement some of the information as well about Windows file system. But in general, it goes through a discussion about how the computer boots up. It talks about the BIOS, B-I-O-S, which is the basic input-output system for legacy computers. If you don't know what that means, it means older versions of computers. So the BIOS is called, it's really a firmware in the CMOS, which is really, a firmware means software that's embedded into a hardware. So the current one is called UEFI, UEFI. So that's a modern one, but we still talk about BIOS. So when you turn on your computer, you can go into the BIOS setting based on the manufacturers, either the F10, F8 combination key. You can usually tell as your system is booting up. After it goes through the BIOS, it does what's called a post power on self-test before the operating system is loaded on. So here we're talking about Windows today, but I also want to just touch upon Linux because we're going to be using Linux in some of our exercises. But the book stops at, I believe, Windows 8. You should know that as of January 14, 2020, Windows 7 is no longer supported by Microsoft. So if you have a Windows 7, you're exposing yourself to vulnerability. Windows 8/8.1 never really took off. Windows 7 was the best-selling versions of Microsoft. Now we have Windows 10. So a lot of stuff you heard discussed we have to do with Windows 10. But specifically something I wanted to mention in the book or in the slide, please look at the slides also that I've posted. It talks about NTFS, which is the file system for Windows, as opposed to the previous one, FAT32. What you need to know, especially in digital forensics, is that NTFS has encryption and compression. They don't go together. So the encryption is what we're really concerned about as it relates to cryptography and forensics about encrypting information. So that's the portion on the slide I wanted to mention. So just know that NTFS, which is New Technology File System, is what you're going to be seeing today. So when you turn on your computer, you open up a file, you right-click on the properties, you will see a tab that says security. That usually tells you that you're looking at a system. Let me see if I can share my screen on here for you so you can understand what I'm talking about. So if I went to go to try and open the file, let's see here. Let me go to my file system. Hopefully the system will come up. We're having an issue last time about sharing the file, sharing the my Windows screen. But essentially, when you open up your file, let's go over here. Let me try and see if I can get into a particular file system. Like this one is one of the videos that we may use. Let's go back to, let's find a normal file here. So let's say this class is any other file. Let's just take a regular file. Say certificate as an example. If I right click on the certificate, I go down to the properties, and then I see on here, I see a tab that says security. I know automatically that I'm looking at an NTFS petition system. So that's all it's really saying on this slide. But for purpose of the class, just know what we're looking at. When I encrypt a file, I usually have a certificate for the file. That's a little beyond the scope of this class. But you need to have an understanding about an operating system as a digital forensics expert or a consultant, because that will determine how you're going to approach the files on the system. All right, so please look at these slides. And again, I also sent an email saying, I believe I posted this, sorry, on Canvas, that I'm available by meeting for Zoom. So those of you who don't have any kind of IT experience, if you're stuck with some of the subjects, please let me know and we can sit down and talk. Currently, I'm in the Middle East on a cybersecurity assignment, but I'll be back in a few weeks. But it doesn't really matter where I am in the world. Just send me an email. Even my phone is roaming and I'll answer the call. So very soon we're going to start installing, I need us to install a virtual box. I'll give you the directions so we can work on some operating systems. For most of the forensic stuff we might do in the class, I think we're going to use Kali Linux. Don't worry if you don't know what that is. I'm going to try and I'll break it down for you. I will guide you. Most of the software or everything that we're doing, I will guide you. And I'm also going to post the tools that we should be using in digital forensic, or that I suggest that you explore. Try and read up about it ahead of time. Things from like autopsy, FTK images. Just look at those. If they look confusing or strange to some of you, send me an email, or don't worry, I'm going to try and explain it, whatever we're going to use. So you will see the next module has to do with using, setting up a forensic labs, and then later on we're going to look at using forensic tools. So this is a class I expect us to do a lot of labs, so we can be familiar, not just theory. Again, I will supplement what I will talk about with videos or more information. But for operating systems, for the Windows operating system, the current one today is Windows 10. We don't really look at Windows 7 anymore, and definitely not XP or Vista. And then we're going to be having a test, hopefully by the end of this week, a quiz that should cover chapter 1 and chapter 2. I believe it will be easy. Most of you will pass. Again, remember, we got to keep to our time schedule, and have a great week. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me.